Once upon a time, in a quiet little village nestled between green hills and forests, there lived a young shepherd boy named Tom. Tom was cheerful, clever, and full of energy. Every morning, he would guide the village's flock of sheep up the grassy hill, where they could graze peacefully all day. Tom's job was important. The villagers trusted him to protect the sheep from wild animals, especially wolves. But although the work was important, Tom often found it lonely. The hill was wide and quiet. The only sounds were the gentle baaing of the sheep, the whisper of wind through the grass, and the distant calls of birds. There were no other children to play with, and no one to talk to. Day after day, Tom sat alone under the sun, watching the sheep. He tried counting clouds, whistling tunes, or talking to the sheep, but nothing could shake off the boredom. "Nothing ever happens up here," he sighed. "I wish something exciting would come along. Just once." One afternoon, as the sun began to dip behind the trees and shadows stretched across the hills, Tom looked down at the village below and had an idea, a foolish idea, but one that made his eyes sparkle with mischief. What if I cried out that a wolf was attacking? The villagers would all run up here in a panic. That would be something to see. He stood up, cupped his hands to his mouth, and shouted with all his might, "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is attacking the sheep! Help! Please help!" The villagers down below froze. They dropped their tools and ran, men and women, young and old, grabbing sticks, ropes, anything they could find. They charged up the hill, hearts pounding, afraid for the sheep and for Tom. But when they reached the pasture, there was no wolf. The sheep were calmly nibbling at the grass, and Tom, he was lying on the grass, laughing. "You should have seen your faces," he giggled. "You all looked so scared." The villagers were not amused. One farmer frowned deeply. "Tom, don't play games with something so serious. Wolves are real and they're dangerous. If you lie, no one will believe you when there's real danger." Tom looked down, pretending to be sorry, but inside, he was still chuckling. "It was just a joke," he whispered to himself. "No harm done." A few days later, as the breeze blew softly across the hillside, the boredom crept back in. Tom tapped his stick against a stone, tossed pebbles into the air, and sighed. The sheep munched quietly, unaware of his restlessness. And then, the same idea returned. "Maybe just one more time," he thought. "It's still funny." He jumped up and cried out again, louder than before. "Wolf! A wolf is coming! It's chasing the sheep! Help!" The villagers paused. Some looked at each other uncertainly. "Do you think it's true this time? What if it is? We can't risk it." So again they dropped their work and ran up the hill, and once again, no wolf. Tom laughed even harder this time. "You're so easy to trick," he said, wiping tears of laughter from his eyes. Now the villagers were not just annoyed, they were angry. "This is not a game, Tom," one woman scolded. "Every time we come running, we leave behind our chores, our families. What if someone was hurt? What if there was a real emergency?" "You're wasting our trust," said another, but Tom only shrugged. He had made everyone listen, everyone run, just with his voice. He felt powerful. Then, one late afternoon, when the sky turned golden and the wind began to change, something different stirred in the forest. Tom was leaning against a tree, half asleep, when he heard it, a low growl, followed by the crack of dry twigs. He sat up quickly and scanned the trees. From the shadows, a pair of glowing yellow eyes appeared, a real wolf. It stepped forward, large, gray, and silent. Its breath came out in short huffs, its sharp teeth glinted in the fading light. Tom froze in terror. Then he screamed, "Wolf! Wolf! A real wolf! Help me! Help the sheep!" He shouted again and again, waving his arms, calling out toward the village. "Please, I'm not lying. It's true this time. Help!" But the village remained quiet. no one came. Some villagers heard his cries from afar but shook their heads. "It's just another trick. We won't be fooled again. Let him yell. We're not going." Tom screamed until his voice cracked. The wolf lunged at the sheep, snapping and growling. The flock scattered, but the wolf caught a young lamb and disappeared into the trees, leaving Tom trembling, tears streaming down his cheeks. That night, as the stars twinkled coldly above, Tom returned to the village. He led back a smaller flock. The villagers saw the missing sheep, saw Tom's pale face and quiet walk, and gathered around him. One elder asked gently, "What happened, Tom?" Tom's voice shook. There really was a wolf. I tried to warn you. I cried for help, but no one believed me." The village fell silent. A grandmother stepped forward and said softly, "You lied too many times, Tom. We wanted to trust you, but trust is fragile. Once it's broken, it's hard to mend." Tom bowed his head. The weight of regret and shame pressed on his chest. From that day on, he never lied again. He tended the sheep with quiet care and worked hard to earn back the villagers' trust. It took time, patience, and many honest days. He had learned a lesson that would stay with him all his life. Moral of the story: trust is built with truth and broken by lies. A single lie may seem harmless, but each one chips away at the bridge between you and those who care for you. And when the moment comes that you truly need help, people may turn away, not because they don't care, but because they no longer know what's real. Speak honestly. Guard your words. For trust, once lost, is one of the hardest things to earn back.